Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. This is Angelina. It's February the 2nd of 2026. I'm sure everyone has noticed that starting from, most of the Chinese people, but the Westerners may not notice that. Anyway, uh, starting from January 30th, the CCP's Liberation Army, the PLA, daily uh, has published the heavyweight commentaries for several consecutive days with the spear pointed directly at former Central Military Commission Vice Chairman Zhang Youxia and Joint Staff Department Chief of Staff Liu Zhenli. In the face of silence from the majority military regions after Zhang Youxia and Liu Zhenli were officially announced as arrested, and Xi Jinping finally couldn't hold it together anymore, the PLA Daily began openly naming and shaming in a continuous barrage. The January 30th edition of the Liberation Army Daily carried an article titled Advancing the Anti-Corruption Struggle with Greater Clarity and Resolve, authored by Xi Jinping Thought Research Center on Socialism with Chinese Characteristics for a New Era at the PLA National Defense University. My God, that's a long name. The article states that anti corruption is a major struggle that cannot be lost and must not be lost. The PLA is an army under the absolute leadership of the CCP, an armed group that carries out the CCP's political tasks. But is there still a CCP anymore? I don't think so. Xi Jinping is the CCP. So in other words, the PLA has become an armed group safeguarding Xi Jinping's dictatorship. This is an extremely dangerous signal. The EU has just announced plans to designate Iran's Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist organization. Isn't this providing a template for the Chinese PLA? The evils or crimes committed by the CCP, such as drug trafficking, fentanyl, the novel coronavirus and its vaccines, and so on, any one of those would be enough to label it as a terrorist organization. The People's Army absurdly becoming an armed group that protects Xi Jinping's is tantamount to branding the PLA with the label of a terrorist organization and tying it to a Sharia of death. There is an old saying in China. An army is raised for 1,000 days, but used in a single moment. But what does the Chinese Communist Party use to support its military? The CCP has no value whatsoever except extorting, blackmailing, stealing, and squeezing the hard earned blood and sweat of the Chinese people. Isn't the military funded entirely by the people's blood and sweat? And yet, it ends up becoming an armed group that protects a single dictator, simply the height of absurdity. And on January 31st, there's another article titled Firmly Uphold the Belief and Confidence that Anti Corruption Will Triumph and a Strong Military Will Be Achieved. Uh, the louder they speak, the empty, the horror they are, right? So in this article, they directly declares that resolutely investigating and punishing Zhang Youxia and Liu Zhenli is a major achievement in comprehensively governing the party with strict discipline, a major victory in the anti-corruption struggle, and an important demonstration of the party and the military's determination and strength. It is of great significance for promoting the PLA to eradicate the root causes of poisonous influences and achieve rebirth through molting. All officers and soldiers of the entire army must resolutely support the decisions of the party central committee, maintain a high degree of unity with the party central committee, with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core in thought, politics, and action. Fully recognize the bright prospects of the anti-corruption struggle and firmly uphold the belief and confidence that anti-corruption will triumph and a strong military will be achieved. Oh my God. It even goes so far as to openly threaten like this the deep excavation and the thorough investigation of Zhang Youxiang, Liu Zhenli, and others, no matter how high their positions or how great their power, everyone is equal before party discipline and state law. As long as corruption is involved, there will be no leniency. For those who do not know fear and test the law with their own bodies, investigate however many are involved and dig however deep the connections go. This is pure threat. You kind of feel like if you don't stand with Xi Jinping, you are an accomplice of Zhang Youxiang and Liu Zhenli, and you will be investigated together. Xi Jinping's anger, the internal rage, and panic are laid bare in these articles. Everyone knows that the military is a highly professional field, and Xi Jinping has never led troops in a real battle. All he has is his experience as a farmer in Liangjiahe. Yet, he demands that the military be guided by his thoughts. Even more absurdly, when the military is strong or not depends whether the military is strong or not depends on the success of anti-corruption. Did you hear that? Whether the military is strong or not depends on the success of anti-corruption. Wait a minute, which one comes first? The CCP has been corrupted since the day one. The kind of rhetoric is truly very Xi Jinping characteristic, both ridiculous and tragic to the Chinese people. This also sends a clear message, a signal that Xi Jinping's great purge will not stop. He cares about no one, regardless of position or merit. He will use killings to ensure his authority. And at the same time, international financial markets have seen baffling anomalies. An upgraded version of the crypto Black Friday on October the 10th of 2025, but with a broader impact happened on January the 29th, this past Friday. Spot silver plunged over 30%, the largest single-day drop in history, flash crashing from a high above $121 to below 70, as low as 73. And spot gold dropped about 9 to 10%. That is the largest single-day drop since 1983, falling from a high above $5,000 $5,600 to as far as low as like 4,400 over the weekend. And in absence of any major negative news, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies suddenly face an avalanche style sell off over the past 60 hours. Why, everyone? I would connect this sell off event to the Great Purge of 12 military brass. For a long time, cryptocurrencies have served as invisible channel for certain special background funds to conduct cross-border operations and evade regulations or sanctions, right? The downfall of Zhang and Liu means the interest networks behind them are facing liquidation. These white gloves are panicking and cashing out at any cost to flee. Moreover, sanctioned countries like Iran, North Korea, and Russia have long conducted dealings with the CCP military through Bitcoin, USDT, and similar channels. With turmoil inside the CCP, these cryptocurrencies have entered a turbulence mode. And the green and the red lines on Bitcoin are actually the lifelines of power struggle. Speaking of Russia, on February the 1st, Russian Security Council Secretary Shoigu suddenly visited China and met with Wang Yi. As everyone knows, Shoigu has deep personal friendship and long-term military cooperation foundations with Zhang Youxia. Zhang Youxia was long in charge of the PLA's weapons and equipment R&D and procurement, former director of the General Armaments Department, and director of the CMC Equipment Development Department. During his tenure, China and Russia reached multiple major arms deals, including Su-35 fighters and S-400 air defense missile systems. As Russia's defense minister, Shoigu was the highest Russian signatory on these contracts. So Shoigu's visit to China right after Zhang Youxia's arrest is extremely sensitive. Shoigu is Russia's top official for defense and national security, yet he met with CCP Foreign Minister Wang Yi. These two are not in matching fields, is it? It's hardly possible that Wang Yi is going to teach Shoigu wolf warrior diplomacy. Don't you agree? And Russian media reported that the talks focused on current global situations of concern to both Moscow and Beijing. And Shoigu's remarks during the meetings are noteworthy. He told Wang Yi, the West is trying to create discord between Russia and China, but this will never succeed. We will take appropriate measures side by side to safeguard global and regional stability and defend international law based on the United Nations system. And Shoigu also mentioned that Putin and Xi Jinping maintain friendly relations and are engaged in active dialogue with very frequent meetings. And Russia and China will expand cooperation within the Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO) and BRICS frameworks. This reflects the interests of the vast majority of people in the world, not those of a small clique that claims to be the chosen ones. That sounds very like CCP, in my opinion. Well, these details are very interesting. Regular viewers of our stream surely know who was the first to say that Russia would turn toward cooperation with the US because of the Zhang Youxiao and Liu Zhengli's arrest. Yes, it was Mr. Mao's Guo. The CCP is also monitoring Mr. Guo's statements in real time, so Russia came knocking to explain and stabilize the CCP. After all, Xi Jinping has become a frightened bird. Let's just recall what Mr. Mao Gore said a few days ago. Number one, Zhang Youxia's downfall is a huge blow to Russian Putin. Mr. Gore emphasized that almost all China-Russian military cooperation and projects, military aid, arms deals, technology sharing, etc., were fully handled by Zhang Youxia and his subordinates. And Zhang was the key figure in PLA Russia and he um, during the Russian-Ukraine war, even seen as one of the important drivers pushing for the end of the Russian-Ukraine war. And secondly, Putin thus loses his sense of security. Putin knows too well how the CCP operates internally, and Zhang Youxia's sudden arrest or fall would make Putin extremely uneasy and insecure, as it means Russia has lost a reliable military channel and an ironclad contact. The China-Russia cooperation chain would break or become unstable. Mr. Gore described this as a very big blow to Putin, causing him to lose his sense of security. And Mr. Gore also hinted that Putin would see this as a signal for major change and might accelerate adjustments to his China strategy. For example, strengthening outreach to other factions or taking a harder line on Ukraine to test China's bottom line. He also mentioned that Xi Jinping would continue to woo Putin to stabilize the situation, using it as one of the diplomatic smoke bombs in response to the Zhang Youxia incident. Through major external propaganda to create a false image of friendly China-US, China-Russia relations. Interestingly, on the same day, Shoigu was active in Beijing. Putin's special envoy, Kirill Dmitriev, Dmitriev was meeting with members of President Trump team in Miami. You can bet Xi Jinping is more anxious than any of us to know what agreements the two sides will reach. And we are on the watch as well. What troubles Xi Jinping isn't just Russia. Even more explosive developments are coming. And the US suddenly disclosed the latest top secret Epstein files. And in this infamous list, multiple key figures from the CCP leadership, including Xi Jinping himself, along with well-known business tycoons like Shoigu, are prominently listed. There is no longer just a matter of private morality. It's a remote-controlled bomb that the international intelligence community has long held against the CCP's echelons. At a moment of internal greed purge and the external financial pressure, the release of this list undoubtedly drives the final sharp knife into the CCP's the the heart of the CCP. So, wait, and Mr. Guo Wengui specifically pointed out that the sections in this file concerning the CCP have not been altered, although most of the, the Epstein files have been altered or contaminated or edited by AI, etc. So this is the Americans deliberately exposing the evil and filth of the CCP leadership and its elite. So, dear viewers, starting in February, we can foresee that the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, will face unprecedented dual extreme pressure from top to bottom and inside to outside. Internally, the military purge will trigger a chain reaction of everyone fearing for themselves. And externally, financial turmoil, the disintegration of the axis of evil countries, and the Epstein files are exerting unprecedented pressure on the CCP. When this pressure accumulates to a certain critical point, it is often the beginning of a historical qualitative change. Every day in February may be rewriting the script of the future. And we are on close watch, as I said before, and will continue um, do live streams and talk about the developments. So that's it for today. See you tomorrow.